All right, hello. Welcome to Stories of a Colorful World. My name is Kanika Mobley, and tonight we're going to have a conversation with author T.B. Darks. Welcome, Taylor. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to be able to have this conversation with you. Could you start off by just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, hi everyone watching to my audience in Stories of a Colorful World. My name's Taylor Darks. It's what TB Darks stands for. I'm a graduate of Florida A&M University, class of 2019. What else? I'm a graduate student currently at Florida State getting my doctoral degree. I'm focused in race and inequalities. And as my part-time gig, I write children's books. So full-time student, and I love writing and I love reading. And I think children's books with diverse content and diverse characters are extremely important for Black youth. And yeah, that's why I'm here.
Awesome. So have you always aspired to be a writer?
Most definitely not. I didn't start writing, or I should say writing for fun, because I didn't realize that you could actually have fun writing and enjoy it until like 10th grade. Because before it was just papers and book reports, and I hated it. So I feel for kids in school. But I finally got to take a creative writing class my 10th grade year with Mr. Taylor, if he's watching. But that class really opened my eyes to what writing could be and how it could be expressive and fun. And at the same time, I was in his AP Lit class, if I'm not mistaken. And we also got to read Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. And so those two things happening at the same time together were really eye-opening for me.
Awesome. Were you big on reading, or were there any books when you were younger that kind of like inspired you?
So how young are we talking? Are we talking about elementary school or middle school? Or
maybe middle school.
okay. This is gonna be embarrassing, but I was a Twilight fanatic. So we had Harry Potter over here. I was on the Twilight squad. I was Team Jacob, if anyone. I'm still Team Jacob. I'm still a little mad, but that's where I got my love for reading. So I don't really knock people who don't like to read like early-ish in life, because I'm a firm believer if you haven't found that book that's a page turner for you, every book doesn't fit everyone. I don't even read books like Twilight anymore, but that was what like started me. And I love fantasy. I loved werewolves. So that's where I got my love for reading from. My love for writing / reading definitely came from the Toni Morrison Song of Solomon. Because I really just loved how intricate it was and how every time you read it, there was a different layer. And as much as I tried to do that with my own writing, because I write novels as well, I've actually started off writing novels, and then I realized I kind of have a knack for children's books. So I started doing that a little more, but I'm still writing the novel. I try and do that with my own work, but I realize my work is very straightforward anyway. Like I try, but it's like, no, we get the point immediately. But Toni Morrison was definitely not doing that in Song of Solomon, but she definitely inspired me to be a writer.
Absolutely. She was such an amazing writer. And like you said, reading her books, like you take away something differently every single time you read it.
There's no one way to interpret it. And I like that.
Absolutely not. So hair is such a major like expression of beauty and a signature of Black culture. And you found a way to kind of make a connecting thread throughout your books with hair. So what made you choose hair as, like that connecting tissue?
Well, I started out with Wash Day. I have it here next to me. So this was my first children's book. So let's see if I can get it to register. There we go. So this was my first children's book, and I've been on my own like natural hair journey, and I'm not even getting into that. I could have a whole YouTube channel just on hair.
Absolutely.
And it would be dramatic, like a soap opera, because it'd be like, it broke off again. And like, that's how it would really be, but it grew back. So it's okay. But so my natural hair journey and advocating for Black women with natural hair has been really big. I went natural probably my 9th grade year. So it all, ties into writing. But I went natural my 9th grade year. I cut it all off. And I kind of liked it. I loved it. I loved doing things to my hair and making it look a certain way, curling it. I think it's a really big deal, and it's a really big part of identity, regardless if you have it long, short, medium. It's a part of us, and it's a part of our culture. And my goals of my books were to kind of take stigmas away from natural hair, because I feel like there's a lot of stigmas associated with it. So wash day, it starts out a little rough. You know, mom's chasing her around the house, trying to get her to do her hair. I've been there before.
Absolutely. And I'm sure every mom of girls can relate to, you know, that experience.
Right. But it's kind of like, no, like, we're going to do your hair and you're going to love it. And it's going to be fun for you to read too. So the Fluffy Adventures of Fromo is a combination of like superheroes and hair care routines. So the tagline is a hero with a hair care routine. And the thing I really liked about making Fromo is I considered giving her powers, but I chose not to, because I liked the idea of her just being, I don't want to say a regular Black girl, but just having her own superpowers within herself. Like no, you know, radioactivity, nothing like that, but using what's around her and being creative, like hair products, hair picks, leave-in conditioner, she calls it sticky spray, her blow dryer sleeping gas that she's hit with a couple people in the books, little things that she's made and she's created as an inventor to enhance her superpowers that she already has.
So just like you said, you moved from Wash Day, which is a story about, you know, Nina and her wash day, which we all know wash day can be like quite the ordeal for those of us who, you know, wear our hair natural in our natural states. But then you move to the Fluffy Adventures of Fromo. What inspired you to, one, create the Fromo series, and then to kind of like choose more of adventure than more of the like straight narrative like in Wash Day?
I'll say that the Fluffy Adventures of Fromo actually started as a joke. I said it in passing, like, oh yeah, the Fluffy Adventures of Fromo. And it was like, ha ha ha. And then I was like, oh wait, that might work. So moving to the Fluffy Adventures of Fromo and adventure was honestly something I did for myself, along with my audience. Is something that was fun for me. I really love writing them. I love the kids' reactions at the events and the activities we get to do. I love the looks on the little girls and boys' faces when I point in the crowd and I'm like, hey, your hair kind of looks like Coil, or your hair kind of looks like Fade, and that's how they connect to it, and really feel a part of the story. So my second reason for, I should say my third reason, I did say two, for moving to the Fluffy Adventures of Fromo is I didn't see a lot of books in that genre at first. Now, once I got into it, I found quite a few books that were in that genre about Black kids. But at first I was like, well, why don't I try writing for that age group and see how it goes? So by doing that and having books in both categories, I've gotten to meet a lot of amazing authors on like both sides of that spectrum. So it's definitely influenced my work, and I love, you know, Bookstagram and authors on Instagram and following and supporting them, and they follow and support me. So it's really a community of feeding off of each other and feeding off of the momentum we have with Black books.
I love that. And I absolutely love Monique, aka Fromo's confidence.
Yeah, she's very confident. When I read from the book, the kids are shocked. But
she, from the very start, she is absolutely shows like, okay, I know who I am, and I, you know, the way her and her sidekick Aubrey, aka Coil, were always ready for action. What are some things like you hope for little girls or even little boys? What do you hope that they kind of like get out of this book?
Let me think. Sorry with the ums.
No worries.
I think that because the first book and the second book are very different. If I can point right there, the second book comes out September 1st. It's The Fluffy Adventures of Fromo and the Halloween Haircut. As you can see, some things went wrong with Fade's hairstyle, and Fromo has to figure out how to fix it. But it's way deeper than that, I promise. Delve into it. But each book has different themes almost. So the first book is Fromo dealing with bullies. And the bullies aren't necessarily in every chapter, but they do affect her and affect her life at school. And I feel like the sticky situation not only is her remaining confident and facing adversity, but it's also with the villains. So things kind of come together with her superpowers, but also her regular life. And the second book is, if you'll read from the short blurb on Amazon right now about it, is that she does not like Halloween. And an inside scoop, I did not like Halloween. So I was scared of it. Like when commercials would come on with Party City and the ghost, I would just cut the TV off. I'm scared of everything. No. So that's where she gets that from, to where it's like, oh no, Halloween's coming again and I have to endure this. And so it's really about her facing her fears and overcoming the Halloween spirit and getting the Halloween spirit back. Because now I love Halloween. I'm considering doing a Halloween Christmas tree, but don't tell anyone. But I love it now. And I think it's really cool to see her dynamic change throughout the second book.
Okay. So how much of yourself or your own experiences do you kind of bring to your work?
I pick and choose.
Okay.
And I think that throws some people in my audience off a little bit, because sometimes it's about me and sometimes it has nothing to do with me and I made that up and I've never experienced that a day in my life. So that's sometimes difficult. The Fluffy Adventures of Fromo, though, definitely has more streams of me.
Okay.
I'm in the book a lot. I have an Easter egg. My dad's a teacher, and so he's Mr. Darks in the first book. So there's like different little things that are in it that Fromo definitely represents me more than Nina. Nina is not me. I have to tell people all the time, like, I went through that, but like I did not write this character thinking
right.
Fromo kind of is me though. So same thing with my novels. I feel like when my novels come out, people are gonna think it's me and it's not. But that's down the road. But so I switch back and forth.
Okay.
So I never really have a pinpoint that I follow through each book.
Okay. So what advice would you give for, let's say, aspiring writers?
My first piece of advice that I would give to aspiring writers is to call yourself a writer. Like, you are a writer. Don't let anyone tell you any different. And get the words down on paper. I'm a culprit of this. I try and wait until things are perfect, and they're never going to be. And even with writing Fromo, my first thing to do when I write these books is get it on paper. Sometimes my character development isn't even where it needs to be when I've written maybe 4 pages for each chapter, but at least I have something to go off of. And I like to take steps towards things. Don't be afraid to break up your goals into steps, because, you want to look at each stair, not the staircase. And I think when writers look at, I have to write this many pages of this many books, they get a little intimidated and get that imposter syndrome. And I just want to let writers know that, like, you deserve to be here and the world needs to hear your story, because everyone's story is different and everyone brings something unique to the table. And it most definitely pays off when you see kids love your book and the way you tell it and love you. And it's just an awesome experience.
You would not imagine even, the youngest of writers. I can think about, going into schools or as a teacher with like even kindergarten writers, and like they would erase, like write so much and then erase everything or second guess themselves. And just to see kids that young not having the confidence to just like put it out there. You can go back and always revise. You can always go back. And
that's how I write everything. My papers for class, if I have to get a draft down before I do anything else, I might change a bunch of different things, but it allows me to have an outline of sorts of where I'm trying to go and what fits together. And I think that's really important.
So we are kind of in this wave again where we're seeing some shifts in the children's book publishing world, where we are starting to see more books being published with diverse characters. Publishers are bringing on diverse authors. And what, from your standpoint, is what do you think about what does diverse representation in children's book mean to you?
I really like this question because when a couple of months ago, I'm gonna say March-ish, when this push for diverse children's books were going on, among other things that were going on in the world at that time, there was a push for, when people think of diverse, they immediately thought of Black struggle. And I didn't really agree with that for several reasons. The first reason is that Black is not a monolith, and I hear that said a lot. We have a lot of different experiences, and it is extremely important for kids to learn about sit-ins and civil rights and struggles that Black Americans have faced throughout time. But it's also important to show kids that there's a life outside of your struggle. It's important to teach healing, and I don't think enough people teach healing, and that's in race, that's in sexuality, that's in a lot of different things. Teach you that it's okay to be you. And I don't see that a lot. I shouldn't say I don't see a lot of books like that. I don't see that a lot in the push for diverse reading. The books are there. I don't think people are searching for them. I actually did a blog post. I think I called it, I'm looking at it right now. I said, from self-love to sit-ins, curating a well-balanced reading list for your Black students. And I encourage everyone to check it out on my website. It has a very long list of books of people I follow on Instagram, and this is definitely not the end of these lists, that have books that just speak to Black kids being kids. And I think when we look at diverse reading, we have to look at diverse stories as something for everyone. My second biggest thing is understanding that your Black children have trauma. So when you're teaching these books about sit-ins and struggles and discrimination, but you're not unpacking them and explaining what was going on in the world at that time and how that affects them now, or you're not also bringing books in like, hey, you're worthy, you're loved, and you're beautiful. And although there's these oppressive structures in place, that doesn't mean you have to change. And if you're not balancing those two acts, I think it can be pretty traumatic for the kids who have to deal with that at home. I should say at home, in their regular life, out in the world, and at school. Because now in all these different facets, because parents are trying to protect their children too. In all these different facets, I'm being told I'm not enough, or I'm not worthy of these things, or I'm not supposed to be there, as opposed to I deserve to be in these rooms. I deserve to be loved, and I'm worthy of everything that I'm going to have coming for me. And I think educators definitely have to look at that as well.
Absolutely. I think that's very important in like thinking about what is the balance, right? Because that's also something that I love about, the Fluffy Adventures of Fromo too, is because you don't always see the kid of color being the superhero, or being the person who goes into outer space, or like you don't necessarily see those things. And so why can't we, why can't all kids do all things, so really thinking about like where are the books that represent kids in so many different genres, not just necessarily in the historic,
Exactly, right.
Like we're here now too, and we will be here in the future. So can kids see that? Can they see themselves in the past, present, and also in the future? I love that. So as you were growing up, did your family have any like story time practices or rituals or anything like that?
So my mom's not going to like me for this if she's watching, but I don't remember any. I read that question. I was like, I don't think so, but she's going to call me after this. Like, we did do that. I'm like, sorry.
Like, how could you
I should have asked ahead of time. I don't remember that. I remember having some books I really liked. If I remember reading like Junie B. Jones and stuff like that, but I don't remember. And maybe that's just how kids are, because the children's book industry is also quite heavily for parents.
Right.
So the parents like, she's gonna love this, and she never picks it up, but they bought it. So
Absolutely.
so that, I don't think I did have any rituals, but when I did get into writing, finally, at 13 years old, or I shouldn't say writing, into reading finally at 13 years old, my parents were buying each book off the shelf because they were trying to keep it going. Like, she's reading, get the books to her. Team Jacob, buy the t-shirts. So I definitely remember that, and remember them being really supportive in anything I did. I was a student athlete, so that took up a lot of my time. It took up a lot of our nights going to games and things like that. So I feel like I probably will have a ritual with my kids in the future of reading. I try and have a ritual of reading now. I'm reading Children of Blood and Bone, the second one. I believe it's Virtue and Vengeance. It's great. It's awesome. Everyone should read it. I fangirl for her.
I have not started it yet.
If she's watching, I definitely named my cat after Nyla from the book. So if she's watching anywhere, I love it. I love everything she does. But yeah, so, and that's important too when we think of diverse reading. Like, just because you didn't necessarily in your mind have a diverse reading experience doesn't mean you can't pass it on to the next generation, and doesn't mean you can't make changes now, especially as like parents and educators and teachers. Just because it's not something you're used to doing doesn't mean you can't switch things up and change direction.
Absolutely. So I would say, other than your own books or Twilight, do you have any other books that you would recommend as like must-have children's books to have in a home library?
Well, Wash Day is a great children's book. The Fluffy Adventures of Fromo is impeccable. But I have a little list sitting next to me of people that I really love. I love the book Malcolm Explains, Willow's Wonders, Brilliant Brown Babies, The Steam Queens. She's pretty awesome. Little Me Wants to Be, Zola and Her Amazing Day. All these books are available on Amazon. If you want to type it in and stuff like that. And they're available on that blog post I mentioned on my website if you want the direct links. But those are books. Oh, I Am Enough, B is for Breathe. Those are books that I really like and enjoy. And those are the civil rights books. Those are more of the I love you self-healing books. But yeah, I think everyone should definitely grab those books and more like them. And pay attention to self-published authors, because self-published authors they're lit. They're fantastic. And a lot of times they fill those gaps that the traditional publishing industry isn't filling, or isn't filling quick enough. Like, we got, I don't believe Hair Love is self-published. I don't think so. But like, we got Hair Love, and Hair Love is awesome. But there's so many books like it that are filling those gaps where can I get more books like that? And if the traditional publishing agency isn't moving quick enough to give people those products, trust me, the self-publishing community has books willing and waiting for your kids.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna have you drop the link to your to that blog post into the chat as well.
Okay.
That way people can go right to it.
You're right.
Awesome. And are you currently reading anything good?
Well, I am in school, so I'm reading textbooks. But yeah, Children of Blood and Bone, Virtue and Vengeance, if I'm not mistaken, that's what I'm currently reading. I'm doing the audiobook and I have the book. My mom got mad at me for that because I like the physical books, but I have to do audiobooks because I'm so busy. She's like, why'd you do that? I'm like, for aesthetic reasons.
Right.
I need the book on my bookshelf. Like, will you let this lady get a sale for me? Please. But outside of that, I'm reading a lot of stuff for school right now. So that's why I say my reading is not where I want it to be, because I'm reading articles and papers for trying to get my master's and my doctorate. So my reading list is very small.
Congratulations. Right, that's awesome. Awesome. Good luck with that. How is everything going with, the shutdowns and everything? Are you totally virtual now?
Totally virtual. And it's definitely hindering my book experience because, people say find your niche and find where your audience is. And my audience is in person. Right. People see the Fluffy Adventures of Fromo, and I think they're kind of like, what is that? So they don't get it. But then when they see me and they read it and they see everything set up the way it is, they really love it. And that's when I get most of my sales. and most of my repeat customers. So it's definitely hindering things a little bit, not being able to do in-school events and actually interact with the kids and teachers and parents. But school's business as usual, same amount of schoolwork, at least they didn't increase it on me. I'm getting everything done, so that's positive.
That's awesome. So that's also empowering, message for other aspiring writers and young readers, like you can multitask, and still, follow your dreams and put out your own book as well.
Most definitely.
So tell us a little more about, you already talked a little bit about what you're working on in terms of your new book coming out. But maybe just give people just another kind of like quick snippet of what is the book, what can they anticipate from this new Fromo book?
Well, The Fluffy Adventures of Fromo, The Halloween Haircut is the second book in the series. And it essentially follows Fromo through her transformation dealing with Halloween, because as I mentioned, I don't like Halloween. So Fromo most definitely doesn't like Halloween. So, I mean, I love Halloween now, but I didn't as a kid. So, I mean, I like dressing up, but the scary commercials and the scary shows, I couldn't. I still have nightmares. I saw The Nun a year ago, and I still think that woman's in my house somewhere when I cut the lights off. So not for me.
No.
But outside of that, The Fluffy Adventures of Fromo, The Halloween Haircut follows Fade, who's our boy character. He wasn't as prominent in the first book, and that's definitely something that a couple educators definitely want. They wanted the boy character to come out a little bit more. So I brought him out a little more, and he's trying to win the costume contest. And Fromo, of course, has to help him because whatever happened is all her fault. So Fromo has to help him win the costume contest so he can get a free haircut by the Clipper King. But a villain that I won't name because it might give things away is trying to stop them and stop the school from even having Halloween. And the school loves Halloween. It's actually Principal Harry's favorite holiday. So that's what this book is about. And it really just celebrates Halloween, costumes, and facing your fears. That's the biggest thing, is Fromo has to face her fear because she has to superhero up and make something happen to win this costume contest, regardless of if she wants to walk into that scary party store or not. So that's kind of the story, and I really hope you guys like it. It is on my website for pre-order, and I'm also having a virtual book launch on September 1st. And I'll post a link to that down here. And if you pre-order during the event or before the event, you get this free button of Fade, which I'm happy I got them today. I actually have bookmarks sitting in my mailbox right now, like they delivered during the interview. And I'm like, I gotta get over there. But yeah, I love this book and I love the series. I can't wait for the third one to come out. I know that's crazy to say because the second one hasn't even come out, but I hope you all enjoy it.
Absolutely. I can't wait for people to get their hands on it and to hear what they think about it.
Definitely. Please leave a review on Amazon. I'm struggling to get reviews and a lot of people really love it. Just have to click that button to review it for me on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and I also have a review system on my website as well.
Awesome. And so how can people stay connected with you?
My Facebook page, do I have it on here? I do. I should probably move over. Probably can't see it. But my Facebook page is at TB Darks. And if you're specifically interested in Fromo, I have an Instagram page, which is at Fromo_official. If you want to find all those things, though, you can just visit my website and it has everything you're looking for. And you can subscribe and stay in the know if that's for educators, teachers. I am doing virtual events. If I have any teachers that would like to purchase the book and then have me come and talk to the students, I'm always up to doing that. So keep in contact with me. I'm really accessible. I promise I'll email back. I'm not a celebrity yet. I thank you guys for supporting me.
They better catch you now. They better catch you now.
Right, catch me now. I'll still be accessible then, but I'm gonna act like I'm gonna be a big shot one day.
Well, thank you so much, Taylor. It was so good talking to you. And I can't wait for the second book for Fluffy Adventures of Fromo coming out September 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And for
book launches at 6 p.m. that day.
6 p.m. Everybody make sure that you're on at 6 p.m. So, and order your pre-copies now. Thank you so much, and see you guys next week.
Thank you.